financial wellness. Reach out to them for advice at 855-DON-GINO. And now back to your hosts, Don Getling and Gino Fronti.
Well, welcome to the second half of the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. for over 6 years, sharing so much great information about real estate, finance, the economy, and now we're trying to help you grow. Because remember, what's our saying?
I was just going to say, Don, don't forget to tell people that the reason we do this is to guide you to personal and financial wellness. So from time to time, you might say, this has nothing to do with mortgages, or it has nothing to do with real estate, and that's okay, because it still helps us guide you to personal.
And let's see, how often do we bring up what the interest rates are?
Never.
We don't control them. We just help you help you with the dream of home ownership, and we love sharing all the other avenues of your life to help guide you to personal and financial wellness. And today we brought a really, really good guy in because we're now starting a new series we just started called Interview with the Giants, a success series. And our goal is to go across the nation, reaching out to some of the top professionals in every field and helping share their success tips, their stories, their information, and guidance to hopefully, again, guide you to personal and financial wellness.
Yeah, so today's no different. We've been having a great time here with Rob, and I know we have a lot of content to still go over, so let's bring it on.
All right. Well, first, if you're going, who is this guy? Go to bestsellerpublishing.org or Rob Kosberg, KOSBERG.org, and you'll find out more. You'll find out he's just an easygoing guy, very simple, and he went from, like us, and I'll throw a little of your background out there, Rob, that you were big time in the real estate, just like us, crushing it, and then the market humbled all of us. And you made a spin, and I'm going to have to, before we go into the Ernest Hemingway era, what made you make that switch, though? You decided not to go back into real estate, obviously. You went into financial services. What got you into helping a lot of us write a book and how to promote it and profit from it?
Yeah, good question. I backed into it. When my book became really successful and helped me really explode my business. It was 2009, so economy was still pretty bad. And yet I started this brand new business, and it ramped to, $1 million in income the first year and then multi-millions after that. And I just had a bunch of people asking me, hey, Rob, how are you doing it? What did you do to pivot during this terrible economy? And I told them, that I wrote a book. And that the book helped me get on TV, and then I ended up having my own radio show and kind of owned the airwaves in South Florida for a number of years when it came to financial services. And so people started asking me, do you think it would work for me? And I didn't know, but I started helping people just, for fun. And I fell in love with it. I love what I do. I actually sold my financial services company 4 years ago. I started Bestseller Publishing 6 years ago, and we've done hundreds of books for U.S. ambassadors and Fortune 500 CEOs and accountants and chiropractors. So it's just a lot of fun, honestly.
Well, I love that you went into something that you just absolutely fell in love with. Like Gino and I, we started the radio show just to help more people out during the down times and letting them know that there's options for them and what direction they may go. We fell in love with radio. We fell in love with reaching out to more people than just, down the street. We can now reach out to them over the airwaves. And now we're reaching out to them in a daily video blog and our iTunes and all that. And now our goal is obviously, like you, to reach out in a book format. And then that's where you came in. I mean, Gino got, an email basically saying, hey, have you thought about writing a book? And again, I was stealing from you, but 81% of us have a book inside of us, but only 1% take action, and you're helping a lot of us do that, which is great for everyone.
Well, in fact, Rob, just so you know that what Don and I have done in 2017, that's been our statement, is that we want you to be bold. We want you to take action. Don't sit on the sidelines. The years keep passing by, and you don't do anything about it. So we're empowering people to take action, and hopefully we're doing that through our interviews.
Yeah, no, I love it. I appreciate it, too. I can't tell you the number of people that I do speak to and that come back to me a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later, and they've done nothing with their book. Nothing. And it's like, do you realize your whole life could have changed in 3 years had you just, mine did. So theirs could too, if you would have just taken action, whether with me or with someone else. And and yet they're stuck in the exact same place they were years ago. It's terrible to see.
Look at you helping tee me up for the number three of the top 3 mistakes that a lot of us, die with our book inside of us, and that's the Ernest Hemingway error. And this is a perfect example. This could, delay Gino and I because we have great thought process of what we would like to do to share and help others, but I'm not a writer.
Right.
That's exactly what the Ernest Hemingway error is. You already know. Yeah, the Ernest Hemingway error is thinking that you need to be some kind of professional writer and that you need to write like Ernest Hemingway. And I've already told you guys, if you look at my first book, it's like I'm a little embarrassed by it. But that didn't stop me from making a lot of money, which I needed to make. A big family to support. Yeah, the truth of the matter is you don't have to be Ernest Hemingway to be successful with a book. And you can hire people to help. That's part of what we do. Or you can do it yourself. It takes longer, and yeah, there's work involved, but you shouldn't let that stop you. You either have to invest something, either your time or your resources to get it done. And from my perspective, there's hardly anything else in business as valuable as having a best-selling book.
Great information from Rob Kosberg, ROBKOSBERG.org or bestsellerpublishing.org.
So what I wanted to touch on is something, and I tend to go backwards a little bit every time because I've been thinking about this for a little while. You mentioned that you released your book in 2008 and it was called Life After Debt.
Yep.
And that brings me to the point of timing. In order to be a market-disrupting book, don't you think timing is absolutely critical? I mean, there was a lot more debt at that time than there ever was, pretty much, and people struggling with it. If you release, let's say you
the Trump effect right now.
Yeah, you release something on REOs right now, people aren't going to read it, but you release something on REOs, and people, a few years ago, people would be all over it. How do I list an REO? So timing, how much does that have to do with it?
Yeah, you're 100% correct, but the interesting thing is that you can have some market foresight. I actually released it at the end of 2009. I started writing it in 2008, made a ton of mistakes, hired a ghostwriter, wasted a bunch of money with the wrong people, and then ended up having to write it, on my own with very little help. But, part of the magic, I guess, in all of this is making sure before you ever start writing your book that your topic is correct. And that is something that you can have some foresight in, that with the right people around you, you can take a look at what's going on in the economy. You can take a look at where you want to be in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And you can write a book with the future in mind rather than the past. So great question.
Good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna save our last segment for the best part, which is your 9-step program of how any of us can basically, with your assistance, write a book. And I'm going to leave that all in one so it doesn't get broken up into pieces and stuff. So while we lead into that, what has helped you persevere through this as you started a new business? I mean, you went from real estate to financial planning to radio and book publishing and book writing and all that. What has kept you driven, and how do you stay sane during it all?
Well, they're probably two very different answers.
Yes.
Because sometimes you're driven to insanity rather to sanity. The switch from real estate to financial service was desperation. I'm in my mid-40s. At that time I was married for 20 years. I'm married now 28 years this week.
Congratulations.
Three great kids. Thank you. 3 kids in private school. I owned millions of dollars in real estate. I, lived in an 8,000 square foot house, blah, 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 right? All that stuff. And I needed to pay the bills. And, I was scared. I was desperate. And so I needed to figure this thing out. And so, that transition was one of desperation. Your back is up against the wall, and you've got to figure this out. And I did, thank God. As far as the sanity question goes, I think the 2 ways that I would answer that, because life is different today than it was in 2009 and 10 for me. It's a lot more fun, right? Sanity during insane times, I think, comes by being more spiritually grounded. And I have as kind of the center of my life my spiritual foundation personally. And I think also my relationships, my wife and the friends that I have, Man, I mean, every week my buddies come over. We have, cigars and scotch outside of my house. I mean, I do it every single week. I play golf.
We'll be over there anytime.
It's only a 40-minute.
come
It's
on,
only
man.
a 40-minute Uber drive. We're there.
Uber.
Really, I mean, that's part of my sanity today because life is busy. It's fun, but it's very, very busy. And so, my relationships and my spirituality keep me grounded.
So balance with that is what keeps you sane.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it's similar to Gino and I. That's the same thing. We work hard to play hard, and we are very fortunate. We're surrounded by some great people that make life really enjoyable. All right, we're going to make your life enjoyable for anybody that has thought about writing a book, or you probably know somebody who has, or somebody who has written one that didn't go anywhere. Maybe you can help them out. And by going to Rob Kosberg, he's going to share his 9-step process of how to take the book from your mind and your ideas and put it to paper and potentially to profit. When we come back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHCS, we'll be right back.